This original WSRE presentation is made possible by viewers like you. Thank you.
Homecomings, a Blue Angels story in pictures. Author and photographer Laura Bogan on this edition of Conversations. No matter how many times you see them, the beauty, the speed, the precision, it's still so awe-inspiring. It's the United States Navy's Blue Angels. They're home-based in Pensacola, Florida. The flight demonstration team is a great source of pride for Northwest Florida. And in her new book, Homecomings, photographer Laura Bogan uses her camera lens to chronicle the mystique the Blues share with their home base. We welcome Laura Bogan to Conversations. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Tell me about this book. Some awesome pictures in here, but how did this come about?
The long story or the short story?
We got plenty of time. Let's hear the long story.
So the long story is in 2016, I had been working for the Blue Angels Association for about a year, and that's the alumni organization for the Blue Angels. And we were celebrating the 70th anniversary that year, so I had been meeting with the team. We were planning a few city events. Blues in the City started that year. And I knew they were coming home from an air show, and I knew that they were going to start smoking Palafox and smoking the beach. So I went out on a pier, and they smoked the beach, and from that minute on, I was stuck. I was out there almost every Sunday when they would come home, photographing them. I just fell in love with it. It was the most amazing moment. Yeah.
What is it about photographing them? Because I mentioned in the intro, I mean, there's a level of beauty, but at the same time, there's raw power and just the precision. And what is it from a photographer's standpoint that makes you go, I got to get that?
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I don't consider myself an aviation photographer. But the Blue Angels are there's something really almost magical to me. It's very inspiring to see that level of teamwork and that level of trust. And then you add our beach to it and the sunset, and it's amazing. It's fun.
You know, you've been around so many of them over the years, working with the Alumni Association and whatnot, and you talk about that teamwork. What have you learned from being around some of those folks, and what have you learned about teamwork?
Oh, wow. They are some of the most amazing humans. A lot of integrity, very humble, passionate about what they do, hard work, a lot of trust. They're a team, and they take it seriously. And they're one of the things that I learned about them that I was most excited to learn was they're just as excited to be there as we are to watch them perform. They're humbled by it, the history of it. It's important to them too, that they're part of that.
Tell me a little about the Alumni Association, because you are involved with them.
So it's the X's. Once the guys or the girls roll off the team, they join the alumni organization. And so they have big events at the end of the year called end of season, and then we've started doing some community outreach. So it's just a really special group of people, a special alumni group. And who's the oldest person in there? How many years back does it go? Well, for a while we had people from the very first team, but now I believe we have somebody from the 1957 team.
1957,
yes.
Wow.
Yeah, Jack Perrault, I believe, is maybe one of the oldest. And so it just spans all the generations. Yeah.
And when you get that whole group together, that's got to be a pretty interesting set of conversations, I would imagine.
It's really fun. Every year at end of season, which is the homecoming show in November, they get together. And the 70th anniversary was just a few years ago, and we had a big party in the museum, the Naval Aviation Museum, and they took a big group photo that year, and it was remarkable to see all of that history on a stage like that.
You know, it takes so much to be able to get to that level. So you are talking about special human beings who are definitely committed to their craft and what they do, because, I mean, they're truly the best of the best.
They are. But, you know, it was interesting. One of the things I find so inspiring about them is that I realized quickly they're just normal. They're normal humans in the sense that they just work hard, and they're passionate, and they just try to do their best. And it translates to everybody. I think that one of the things that I take away is that I can reach that level in whatever it is I wanted to do as well, if I work hard and if I'm passionate about it. So they're exclusive, but they're also teaching other people that whatever it is that you like to do, you can achieve your dreams too.
I think what's also kind of amazing about them too is I know when I've heard several of them say they never have a perfect show, so they're always critiquing themselves.
Yeah, they don't ever feel like they achieve perfection.
Yeah.
I don't really agree with that because
I
I
don't
think they
either.
do, but no, they never feel like they've achieved perfection ever.
Yeah, and the other thing that I'd kind of learned too over the years, and I'd be interested to get your feedback on this as you were around them too, they seem to be pretty open with one another from a standpoint of when they go in and debrief about the honesty factor. You didn't do, you know, this, that, or whatever.
Yeah, I don't go into the debriefs, but from what I know, they're very honest,
Yeah.
and that they leave their ego or,
Yep.
or at the door, and they are real honest and open, and they take a lot of personal responsibility too.
Yeah.
You know, they say, I didn't do this right, or I could have done this better, but yeah, I think that honesty is really important to them.
Yeah. What do you think the Blue Angels means? What do you think they mean to Pensacola?
I think they're our team. I think that we're just very proud of them because they are America's pride.
Yeah.
They represent the best of the best, I think. There's a lot of history there. So I think to Pensacola, that's our team, or that's how I feel about them anyway.
Yeah.
I think that of them as our team.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing when you think about it. I mean, they do two shows a year here in Pensacola, and it's always a packed house at both places. Or, well, it's actually more than 2 shows if you count the usually a
Practices,
Friday,
yeah.
the practice and stuff like that. And it's just a situation where it never ever seems to get old. Let's talk a little bit about some of the photographs. Ted's been kind of cycling a few of them through, but I'm going to have him put a couple of them up
Sure.
and let you talk
Absolutely.
about and expand on kind of
Yeah,
what
of course.
was going on here.
Sure.
So tell me what this is right here.
So that was one of my first. That was taken September 11th in 2016, and that's one of my first ones that the sunset was perfect.
Yep.
I mean, that is how the sky and the day looked. And you see, there's a person in the bottom left corner.
Yes.
And he was pretty happy to be there because they were flying pretty low, and it was pretty awesome. So that's just one of my favorite ones.
Yeah.
That shot I took, I was in the jet. That was from my ride.
And I'm going to get to that in a minute.
Yeah, that was, so I got to smoke the beach, which was pretty awesome, yeah.
When you take a look at that photograph, I mean, boy, it's pretty hard to argue that there are too many more places more beautiful than the Northwest Florida
No, it's special.
area, huh?
Very special.
Yeah. You mentioned the fact that you got to go for a ride,
Yeah.
and that's not something that very many people have the opportunity to be able to do. So tell me, how was that?
I think the word they used to describe it is dynamic. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was, I was honored to have that experience.
Yeah.
But it was once in a lifetime, top 5 for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the call from Boss and Becca Bernanke. Boss Bernanke was boss of the team in 2016, 2017. So they called me and asked me to go, and I was like, okay. And I'll never forget it, being strapped in with all that gear. It's so foreign, and the sounds are different, and then the canopy comes down, and you're sitting on the runway, and off you go.
You said you were a little scared, huh?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
I was, yeah. It's funny, I go up in helicopters and shoot, but I'm a little scared of the jets. That
Yeah.
was, the power behind those jets is impressive,
Yeah,
to say the least.
Well, it is, and the amazing thing about it is when you and I had the opportunity to fly with them as well, and as you know, and I always had a great deal of respect for them, and I'm a pilot myself, but when I had a chance to ride with them and saw what you have to deal with from a standpoint of just the physical part of it. In other words, withstanding all the G-force. Then you add the speed onto it, and you think about the precision that they are engaged in when they're flying a show. I mean, it's just a whole new level of phenomenal.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I don't honestly see how. I mean, it's remarkable to me. I was exhausted the rest of the day. That was it for me. But it's amazing.
Yeah, because it's a tremendous amount of all the G-forces that you're pulling.
Yeah, I'm not a big G fan.
That's not your thing, huh?
No, not my thing at all. No. I pulled 6 Gs, I think. It was 6 Gs on takeoff, and I was like, okay.
that was
let's
enough.
dial
Huh?
it down just a little bit.
That was
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
But my point being is you factor that in, and then you see them flying in formation, or you see them flying, you know, the solos and the posing, and it's just you just got so many things that you have to have going on in your head. So you know that's what's talk about the teamwork, and you talk about the level of concentration and stuff. It's just
the trust.
Yeah, the trust.
I think the trust. I mean, because yeah, it looks easy. I mean, I guess that's probably not a really good way to say it, but you don't realize how hard it is. But you get in that jet. I mean, you're right. It's a whole. I mean, that's tough.
Yeah, it's a whole nother
And
world.
I think that the level of trust that they have for each other is remarkable.
Yeah.
And the hard work they put in and the passion for what they do is just a pretty amazing combination.
Yeah, and you know too, on top of that, just the level that the speed, how fast things are changing. I mean, it's just, you know, there's not a whole lot of room for mistakes. I'll put a couple more pictures up there,
Sure.
Ted, and we'll just kind of talk a little bit about that. The name of the book is Homecomings, and Laura is from the area, and like many of us, grew up watching the Blue Angels, but had the opportunity to spend a couple of years with them and very closely and take some of the photographs. So that beautiful cover on the book, but that was the photo you showed us a few minutes ago.
Thanks.
Let's flip through to a couple others there, Ted, and I'm going to let Laura expand on them.
So that was taken in 2016, and that was when they were coming home from El Centro.
Okay.
And that was taken from a helicopter.
Okay.
So I got permission to go up in a helicopter, and we were hovering right by the beach ball above them, and I got to shoot them as they smoked the pier, and it was really amazing. I remember at one point thinking, okay, I need to see this with my own eyes.
Yeah.
And the photo, it doesn't, when you're there, it's I mean, it's remarkable to see it in a photo, but to be there and to see those 6 jets. I put the camera down. I've got to see it with my own eyes, and it was amazing to see them fly underneath me. Because
from that view.
And so then that was taken from the flight line. I was still in the helicopter. That was when they were taxiing in. So that was amazing. Boss Bernanke let us follow them. We couldn't keep up, obviously,
Right.
but follow them down to the runway. And that was the first shot. That was what started it for me. That was April 2016. That's the moment I got hooked.
Right.
From then on, I was on the pier every Sunday when they came home.
That's neat. You were talking about coming back from El Centro. For folks who don't know, they go out, and that's kind of like the
Winter training.
Winter training.
Yeah, so they're there now. They'll be home at the end of March, and they'll start their practices here.
Okay.
So they leave January through March for winter training.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they do that out in California, and then come back here to
in the
Florida.
desert. Yeah.
Yep.
In the desert. Yeah.
And come back. What was it like? Did you have an opportunity to experience as the team turned over, as new people became part of the team? Did you have an opportunity to experience that and what that was like?
I did. Yeah. It's interesting. It's fast paced for them, I think. You know, 2 years on the team typically, unless you're the solo, who's 3. But so I got to experience a new boss and a new public affairs officer, and then the previous year, you know, some new pilots. So it's interesting. They take them under their wings, and they train them and they teach them, but it's fast paced.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you think about it. I mean, I guess once you're part of the team, it's full on for
that. Yeah. I mean, you go.
Yeah. What did you have an opportunity to kind of experience of what it was like? I mean, for the new person coming in, it's like, wow, I'm a part of this
Not during
iconic event.
Yeah,
so to speak.
not during, not right when they were, but afterwards. I've asked, you know, so what was that like? And they're like, it's like drinking from a fire hose a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they're so excited and they're so honored. And they've got so much to learn, and it doesn't stop. I mean, you know, that we have homecoming air show in November, and then the next day, basically, they're up practicing.
Right.
So it doesn't stop.
That's neat. You know, we talk so much about the pilots, and of course they get you know the attention as they should and whatnot. But talk a little bit about all the support that is around the guys that are flying the jets. I mean, again, a whole new level of expertise, right?
Yeah, and they are critical. Very important. They're a family. It's 130, I think, members on that team, and they work together as a family, and they're all very important to get the job done, get their mission done.
Yeah, and you talk about a level of trust. I mean,
for sure.
You know,
the crew chiefs. I mean, trust them completely. They're the best, really the best of the best. They represent our Navy, and they're the best of the best.
Yeah, yeah. We have I think we have a photograph of this, because unfortunately, there has been some tragedy along the way. And let me see if Ted has the photograph. And here, talk about this, Laura.
So that was taken in June of 2016. I believe it was June the 9th, if I remember correctly. And that is, that's Captain Katie Higgins. She's flying Bert, and she's bringing Captain Coos home. Captain Coos had a mishap up in Tennessee, and being escorted by lead solo Ryan Chamberlain. He was number 5. And so that was their way of bringing him back to Pensacola, and giving Pensacola a chance to honor him and honor that experience, and to show their support. I was out on the pier that day, obviously taking that shot, and the beach was packed. It was really nice to see that support for them.
Well, I think it kind of goes back to what you were saying a couple of minutes ago. They are our team, so to speak. I mean, it's just something that everybody in this area relates to and feels like they have a connection. What was it like for the team after that happened?
It was hard. I remember thinking that it was really interesting to see how they just came together as a family, and they lifted each other up, and they just held each other together, and they just got through it. But it was hard. It was hard on everybody. The BAA, all the X's. I mean, everybody came together to support them. Right. So from that, I think it was a very powerful experience, in the sense that I got to see just how much of a family they are. They say once a blue, always a blue, and you saw that, and it was remarkable. Yeah. It was tough, but it was remarkable.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
You mentioned Captain Katie Higgins, who was flying Fat Albert there. So she's the first female pilot, as I understand it?
Yes, she was the first female pilot they had. She was the first, She was Bert, so she flew Bert. She's a Marine, and so she flew Bert. So they've had other females on the team, but she was the first pilot. First
pilot.
Yeah.
What was that like? Did you think did she talk about maybe the kind of the history of that and the of breaking that ground, so to speak?
She was real proud and real happy and honored to be there. She flew me, so I got to fly Bert in 2015, and she flew me, which was amazing. Yeah. That was not quite as many G's as the jet. So,
right.
Yeah, I was able to do a little bit better. But she obviously very proud of the experience that she had, and honored to be the first female pilot. So, of course.
What do you think that meant to the team? I mean, what do you think that meant to the team to bring the female pilot on? And
I think it meant a lot to them. I think that that it was important that she was the right person for the team, and I think that. And that she happened to be a woman. Right. Does that make sense? I think
absolutely.
that she was just the right person, and she came on the team, and she was a great team member. But I think it was also important that they had a female pilot. But I think they were waiting for the right person.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of those things where great talent's great talent.
Yes, exactly.
Doesn't matter, male, female, whatever the case may be.
Exactly.
And that definitely your ability to be a great aviator is doesn't matter. Right.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's And so she was great though. That was fun flying with her. I'm glad I got to do that.
Yeah. Well, we had hoped at some point to get her on the show, and maybe at some point we will. I mean, I know she's moved on from the Blues, but maybe we can
get her on here.
Track her down.
For sure.
So it's a job for you there, Laura.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do.
Yeah. Talking about the photography side of it, let's switch gears here just a little bit. What makes a great photographer? You've been doing this for a while.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't really come at photography from a technical standpoint so much. I come at it from, I photograph things that I love. So I think that for me, that's what makes a great photographer. Not that I really consider myself great, but I photograph what I love. Yeah. And I think that translates. I think people see that. I think that the passion is there. And I think that maybe people see that in some of my work.
Yeah. And you have another book you've done as well, correct?
Yeah, I did an aerial photography book called Upside. So I would go up in a helicopter and shoot the community and the beach and the downtown and some of the Blue Angels, stuff like that. So I did that. I self-published that one a few years ago. That was really fun. That kind of came upon it on a whim. I mean, it was like 1 minute I was like, well, maybe we should do a book. Yeah. And we did a book. My helicopter pilot and I. So we had a really good time doing that book. It was fun.
I bet. What is it about this area that makes it so appeasing to take photographs of?
Yeah, it's, I was thinking about that the other day. Pensacola there's something about it. It's just almost, I don't want to use the word magical, but to me it is. The beaches are really beautiful and the people are amazing, and then you add the Blue Angels, and you've got the Wahoos, and we've got this amazing downtown, and there's just something about this city that people really seem to respond to. It's beautiful. Our beaches are the best in the world, and that keeps making the news. But so I just think there's something special about this town.
What outside of the Blue Angels, what are some of your other passions that you like to photograph?
The beach, for sure.
Beach.
I love it. Yeah. The beach is really fun. Fort Pickens, that whole stretch of the beach is really beautiful. And downtown, when we had the tall ships, I got to photograph that. That was really fun over Plaza de Luna. And then the Christmas lights on Palafox.
Yeah, there's some beautiful pictures.
Yeah, Veterans Park's really fun. That's really pretty. Perdido, sunset. Sunsets over Fort Pickens from the helicopter. It's pretty cool.
Pretty magical.
Oh, for sure.
What about people? Do you find people and personalities interesting in the same way?
Yeah, I do. In my book, there's photographs of the team on the flight line, and it was taking those photos, because up until then I had not really photographed people so much. I mean, I photographed Mayor Hayward when I worked for him, but photographing the team and seeing them just rushing up to their families on the flight line on a Sunday evening, that really kind of captured my attention. And so I started photographing some families, and I enjoy that. I enjoy the not staged, the more behind the scenes kind of look. I like photographing people like that. That natural kind of sneaking up on them a little bit, maybe.
Right. You think there's anything that makes a person more attractive to the camera? And I don't mean looks, but I'm talking about, like, just personality, or what I like to refer to as characters.
The charisma.
The charisma.
That, and I think if they don't know the camera's there, when I can capture somebody and they don't know I'm doing it, I think then they're relaxed. That's when you can really capture somebody. But that's the hard part.
Who's the most interesting person you photographed in a scenario like that? Not a stage type situation.
Probably, I want to say Boss Bernanke. I really enjoyed photographing him on the flight line when he would rush up to his family.
Okay.
That was pretty amazing to see. This historical figure, this amazing leader, and he sees his kids and his wife, and he's just a regular guy, excited to be home. There was something really special about capturing those moments. I was really honored to have been there for that.
Yeah.
That was fun.
And when you talk about him being the boss of the Blue Angels, for folks who don't know, kind of explain what that entails.
So when I say boss, he was the flight leader of the team. So he was the commander, and they call him boss.
Right.
And once you're a boss, you're always called boss.
Right.
That's your call sign.
Right.
So yeah.
What do you and knowing the guys that who have in the Alumni Association, so what do you think are some of the great characteristics that those guys have, because they have to be true leaders?
Yes, passion for what they do, for sure. I mean, hands down, all of them are so happy to be there. Boss Bernanke told me about a story about how when he was a kid, he was watching the Blue Angels practice overhead, and then when they flew over the Super Bowl in 2016, he flew over the exact place he watched them when he was a kid.
Oh, wow!
And that stuck with him. He had grown, and Boss Frosh is the same way. He had a story of seeing the Blue Angels. So there's that passion for it, that they really have always wanted to be a part of that history. And a lot of integrity and a willingness to work really hard.
When you were photographing them, did you have an opportunity to see, I'll call them fans for lack of a better term, but fans interact with the pilots?
The kids, especially the kids.
Yeah.
Oh, it's wonderful to see that. They inspire the kids so much. The kids are really excited to see them, and the team is very approachable. And that's part of their mission, is to inspire the kids, and they take it seriously. And it's really nice, that the kids get to meet them and talk to them one-on-one. That was really.
I bet there were some great photographic opportunities from that standpoint, huh?
Oh, for sure. Seeing those kids' faces, definitely.
Yeah.
I know how it feels too. Just to meet them and to realize that, hey, I can do that.
Right.
And I think that's what the team is trying to convey to those children.
Yeah, that's great. So anything else in the pipeline? You working on any other fascinating
I have
photography?
another book in mind, another Blue Angel book in mind that I'm thinking about doing, another kind of behind the scenes perspective. So we'll see. I'm hoping. I've got to, the release, this book comes out in March, so I've got to get out there and hopefully sell this book and get it exposed to people. But yeah, I'm thinking about doing another Blue Angels book. That's my passion, is really photographing and capturing that, and how inspiring they are, and spreading the word a little bit. I hope my photography appeals to maybe someone that's not necessarily an aviation fan, because I think that they can communicate to so many different types of people. And that's what I hope to do with my photography, is share that side of them.
Yeah. Well, I kind of mentioned you. I mean, in the intro, they're kind of telling a story with your pictures. I mean, when I looked at the book, that's sort of what I was thinking about.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. I wanted people to see that they're human. They're just normal people, but they work really hard and they're passionate, but that we can achieve our dreams too. I mean, Boss Bernanke always would sign lithographs for me to give to kids, be relentless in the pursuit of your dreams. And I think that that's the important message, that if you're relentless, if you're passionate and you work hard, you can achieve them too. So that's the side of the Blue Angels that I'm hoping to share with my book, and maybe with my next one, we'll see.
Good deal. Do you have a favorite picture in here?
Boss Bernanke shot, the pitch-up break. It's
Okay.
the single jet one.
Okay.
It looks like he's up. It looks like we're all in the clouds, but I took it from the flight line.
Okay.
One day. That's my all-time favorite photo.
Yeah. And when you call it the pitch-up break, tell folks what you're talking about.
It's the carrier landing. So at the end of the air show, when the team comes in, and then they all individually pitch up and break. Yeah, that's when you pulled 7 Gs.
Yeah. that's a fun afternoon, I'll tell you.
That's a once in a lifetime for sure.
It really is, and I don't want to make this talking about me, but Laura and I were talking off set prior to going on about the experience of being able to fly, and it is just an amazing experience. And I always had people ask me, well, what was it like to fly with the Blue Angels? And I always come back, it was everything that you could imagine it would be and more.
For sure.
Top
5 experiences.
Top 5 experiences.
They use the word dynamic. I always laugh because I'm like, I'm not sure if that's the exact word I'd use, but okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like euphemism for strap in and hold on.
Yeah.
For sure.
And it was just, but again, and it's not like, to me, it wasn't like a roller coaster ride or anything like that. It was just incredible, the amount of power and skill and precision and all that went into it. It was just absolutely phenomenal.
Remarkable. I had never experienced that kind of power. I didn't realize jets could go. When the afterburners kicked in, I was like, okay, I think I can do this. And he's like, all right, ready, hit it. And we went up, and I was like, oh no.
But you weren't too crazy about the rolling around upside down.
Yeah, no. I'm just proud of myself for getting in the jet.
Well, I had a good time. We rolled around, had a great time. I thought it was fun.
Well, you're a pilot, so it's a little different. I'm a photographer.
That's it. Thank you so very much. The name of the book, Homecomings by Laura Bogan, will be available around town?
Yeah, so it's already available in Artisana, the Naval Aviation Museum, Pensacola Merchant, and Flounders on the Beach, but soon to be available, hopefully, everywhere.
Awesome. Thank you. All the best, Laura. Good luck on the next book.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. By the way, you can see more of our conversations online at WSRE.org/conversations. We're also flying around Facebook and YouTube. I'm Jeff Weeks. Thank you so very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the broadcast. Take wonderful care of yourself, and we will see you soon.